All right, let's test the audio really quick once that comes up. All right, let's test it. Okay, we are in business. All right, today, saw someone post this deal, sub-to deal. Let's analyze it for Section 8. And obviously, you guys don't always have to use a Section 8 exit strategy, but this is just how I go about it and how I get my practice in and get my reps in. So this is in 3945 St. Charles Place. This is advertised as a cash flowing sub-to deal. This is Macon, Georgia 31206. Buy price $158,000. 4-bet, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet. PITI is 1068. 5.1 interest rate. Entry fee including assignment and cash selling $16,000. Okay, let's go ahead and look this one up. So 3945. So quickly, let's see if we can see any pictures. That don't make any sense. They don't have any pictures of the interior. So it was completely renovated 10 months ago. I'll take their word for it when analyzing it. Can't tell if this is the house. This looks pretty run down here. Is that it? Huh. Maybe. Not really sure which house is it even. Let's see. That could be the house too. Interesting. All right. Well, next I want to go check the crime score real quick. So let's go ahead and plug in the address. All right. Let's plug in the address. Go to tophap.com, tophap.com. Let's see if I can see the crime score. 126. Okay, a little bit higher than I would like, but still within the realm as long as you're on the right street. So next thing I want to do is get the county. I want to look for the FMR now. The Bibb County. So when you Google HUD FMR, you can click on this website right here. Click on Access to Smart Area FMRs. Click on FY 2024 FMRs. This is in Georgia, and this is the Bibb County. Let's see if we get the rent ceiling here. Rent ceiling for 4-bed in 31206. 31206. 4-bed is 1440. Let me write that down. 1440. 1440. That's 31206. Just gonna write this one down. Yeah, let me write down the rent for the 3-bedroom since I'm already have it here. 1320. Okay. Now I don't care about the market rents for a 3-bed because I'm already at a 4-bed. And if I go to affordablehousing.com, go to the owner section, market rent estimator, I can plug in the address right here. Let's see what the market rent is. Once you plug in the rent, the number you're going to care most about here is 1130. This says right here within a 2-mile radius, 25 units in that 2-mile radius. The average rent is 1130. 1130. That is well below the rent ceiling of 1440. First of all, let's see what's the zip. The zip is 1242. 1438. 1438 is a city. And a county is 1547. So this is definitely why the crime score is probably a little higher. You think about the general range of this property. You can see that the area closest in proximity to this home is actually the lowest rent when compared to the rest of there. So that could probably explain why the crime score is a little bit higher. Maybe this area is a little bit desirable. So there's just something that pops up to me right away. Now, let's go ahead and plug in some of the numbers here. Now that I have the rent ceiling, which is 1440, and the market rent 1130, 1150, that's probably the rent I'm going to use to underwrite this deal, right? Because of the rent reasonableness test. The rent reasonableness test states that you cannot charge more rent to a voucher holder simply because they're a voucher holder. And that's probably why. And I'm not sure why they advertise that the rent's 1450 because 1130, that's what I'm seeing. I'm not, that's a big range. And that's already within 2-mile radius. Maybe there's different comps in there, but I'm not sold on a 1450 for rent. Now, if your rent is 1150 and your PITI is 1068, that's how you can easily rule out the deal already. When you take about 20 to 30% off the rent, which of 1150, you're already well below the PITI, which puts you in a negative cash flowing deal. In most scenarios, I would probably stop analyzing the deal right then and there. But today, let's walk it out. Let's see what the actual negative cash flow numbers may be. Let's see what happens. All right. So mortgage payout was 142. I'm going to plug these numbers in. All right, 5.1%. Doesn't matter what the date is because all I care about is getting the total PITI number of 1068. And I'm going to go to 1068 equals 1068 less the principal portion of the sub-2 loan less the interest portion of the sub-2 loan. And that allows me to get the resulting escrow amount, which typically consists of your property taxes and your insurance number. Now, usually that's for a primary residence property. So I'm going to assume that I'm going to add another $30 per month for insurance because typically your insurance costs for a rental property is going to be higher than your primary residence. Okay. All right. So I got 10% for my maintenance. I got no HOA expenses. I got 10% for property management. And I got 5% for vacancy. This, if you keep it as is at 4-bedroom and you rent it out for $1150, this would be a negative $235 cash flow. That's a negative of roughly 7% cash on cash return, assuming your thing was 158. And I'm leaving $7,000 for rehab. I'm not even touching the rehab number because I didn't see any photos. So it'd just be silly of me to estimate. But I want $7,000, assuming that was already turnkey, because according to the seller, it's been recently renovated. And that's okay. I'll take their word for it now. All right. And I didn't even have to add in any of the numbers, but if you want to go ahead and add in some numbers, let's do it. So commissions and cash to sell, $16,000. There are no arrears. No additional cash to seller. Gives you $4,000 of closing costs, 2.5%. It's going to give you 10.4%. So that actually makes it worse. Now, if you, let's just say, you maybe I can get really lucky and I get 1440 or 1450 for rent. Would that make it a deal? Even if you turn this into 1450, which is a very, very best case scenario, and on top of that, you still have all your expenses, this is still a break-even property. For me, that's not where I would like to deploy my capital. Again, this is not investment advice. You should consult with your own investment professionals, but I'm simply sharing with you the work I'm doing every day. And I'm not soliciting investments. I'm simply showing the work that I'm doing every single day to determine whether or not something is even within my realm of interest. Let's call it that. And at 1450, even on best case scenario, I'm breaking even. That's not sustainable. If you don't have any margins, and there's really no mission. You can't provide affordable housing if, let's just say, the roof collapsed one day, when there was a big storm or a big hailstorm. Boom. Now all of a sudden you have a roof repair for $1,000. You'll be out of $1,000 in the pocket because you're not able to recover any sort of expenses with excessive cash flow. It's just not possible. So for me, at 1450, even though that's very unlikely, the more likely scenario is 1150, and that results in a negative $335 cash flow. For me, even though they advertise it as a cash flowing deal, to me, this is where you got to be careful. This is where you have to truly, truly understand how you're analyzing your deals, get your own data points, corroborate your thought process with the data that you're looking at. So let's look at how we looked at the process today. Let's do a quick recap, right? We first got the property. We looked at the general condition of the property, looked at the street view. We then got the crime score for this area, which we found to be 126. Then we said, let's go and get the county, which we saw from the Redfin website, that this was in Bibb County, right? Now, from that website, from that county, we Google HUD FMR and go into the smart FMRs, and that's how we determined that the rent ceiling for a 4-bedroom home is $1,440, listed right on the HUD website. Then we went to the affordablehousing.com, go to the owner section, market rent estimator, plug in the address, bedroom count, and we saw that the average market rent for 25 units within a 2-mile radius is $1,130. That tells me that this is the more likely rent that I'm going to receive for this property. Using that number, when you compare that to what was listed out on just the website for the deal details, you can already tell that's not going to be a deal, because when you have $1,150 rent and you have less than $100 margin, I mean, spread between the PITI, you know you're going to have to set aside money every single month for property management, maintenance, CapEx, and also some vacancy because someone eventually moves out and something always breaks in your home eventually at some point. That tells me that this is not a deal. Okay. Now, moving forward, then we said, okay, let's walk it out, right? Normally I would have stopped analyzing deals, but I wanted to show you all what that actually results and why do I typically stop analyzing deals? Because when you walk it all the way out, you already know it's a negative cash flowing deal. So we plug in the address, we plugged in the monthly PITI and backed into the escrow amount for taxes and insurance by subtracting out the principal and interest. And after you subtract that out, that's how you get a resulting number and you can make any adjustments that you would need or that you would like. And that's how we result in the rest of the expenses for maintenance, property management, and vacancy. And that's how you arrive at your net cash flow number, which in this scenario was a negative number. You don't even need to plug in the rest of the numbers for your entry fee, but if you do, go ahead. But I didn't even go into the renovations this time because I couldn't see any photos, so I didn't want to guess. And I'm just going to leave aside it. Even if you were to do it, I'll probably just put in some money for painting the place because you don't know what the condition of the home is currently. And that's how you want to at least have some set aside budget because you got to assume that there's going to be some unanticipated work related to the property that you might not know about. And especially if they don't show any interior photos in the photos, just be a little bit skeptical. You can believe them, but I would show a little professional skepticism, in my opinion. All right. So that was that for today. That's what I want to go through with all of you today. I am on day 184. The goal was to do this for 100 days in a row. And long and behold, once you develop a habit, you can now go ahead and keep on going. So my goal for all of you is consider at least copying my homework. If you don't know where to start and you're just beginning out, learning how to analyze a deal might be a good start for you. Even if you don't know how to analyze a deal or don't ever want to learn how to analyze a deal, you could at least copy my homework, put it on your own YouTube channel so that you might have a little bit more confidence the next time you run across a deal and it's a deal, but then you might be in disbelief. The only way you're going to have any confidence in believing that the deal is if you can go back and look at your own track history, look at your own YouTube channel and say, I probably know what I'm doing. I've been analyzing deals for the past 184 days in a row. And these were all not deals. Learning how to spot what a deal is not might be a more important skill than learning how to spot a deal. Because you're going to want to learn how to avoid burnout by simply looking at your deals and quickly realizing it wasn't worth your time to go any deeper. When you're able to do that, you will save yourself time because burnout typically comes from doing a lot of work for no results. And then if you ever have a partner that comes to you and says, hey, why do you think this is a deal? Well, you can point them to your own YouTube channel at that point in time and say, well, I know this is a deal because look at my YouTube channel. I've seen 184 deals and they were all not deals. And they could just be you copying my homework. Just pick one part of how I analyze a deal, explain it better. Do it better than I did, because that's the whole point. This is how we lift each other up in a community. This is how we do things together. This is how we solve the affordable housing problem together. I'm trying to show you the path of least resistance. And sometimes copying homework might be the way. So go for it. Because even when you're copying and you're talking out loud and you're recording that video, something's going to stick. Whether that's a piece of the process, whether that's something that you explain out loud to yourself to give yourself more confidence, something will stick. All right. Have an amazing Monday, everybody. Happy April Fool's Day. I don't have any April Fool's joke. I've seen some good ones out there, but be careful what you read today. And I hope you guys spend some quality time with your family and friends today. Excuse my voice. I'm a little under the weather, but we're going to be back here again tomorrow for day 185 because we have no excuses. We're going to be consistent together and we're going to keep on doing this together. Have an amazing day, everybody.